Thank you very much, Betty. We are at the second People's Anti-Corruption Summit that is organized by the Kenya Human Rights Commission, and this is in lieu, or this comes at 3 days before the world marks the Anti-Corruption Day that will be marked globally. And to give us a brief or what the event is about here today, I'm now joined by Davis Malombe, who is the Deputy Executive Director of the Kenya Human Rights Commission. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us. So this summit, it's called the Second People's Summit. When you say the People's Summit, what do you mean? Because looking around, I can see several groups of people, adorned in these T-shirts. What exactly is the People's Summit?
Okay, the People's Summit is a forum where people converge to discuss the emerging issues about corruption and also agree on how to enhance political accountability on the emerging challenges around corruption. The idea came up last year after the government also came up with the high-level State House summits, and one of which was on corruption, which was held in October last year. And we really felt that those summits, which were being organized by the government, were quite elitist, and the people were not getting the space to also give their perspectives. And that's why now as civil society, we also came up with the idea of having a parallel People's Forum, where now people can really articulate their issues and be able to give their position on what is supposed to be done. So that's why this year we are organizing the second one, and we are going to be organizing those ones as we move forward. The one for last year was held on the 9th of December at Government House, but the one for this year is being held today because now we have other activities before the end of the week. So this is also being normally organized as part of our work to celebrate the International Day Against Corruption. So we are also having other activities which have been happening in the course of this week, and the climax will be the integrity walk, which is going to be happening on Saturday. So today we are expecting also people from the government, but now the major participants are normally the members of public, because this is their space to give their expression and also their position on what is supposed to be done on corruption. Yeah.
You had the first conference last year, or the first summit. This is the second. Do you think that your views or what you advocate for is really being put into account?
Oh, it is. Because what happens, in this forum, we also get duty bearers who get to respond to issues about corruption directly from the people. And we also come up with positions which are also used for policy advocacy in the course of the year. So it's both a forum for direct engagement, but it also gives us issues which we also formulate for further policy engagement in the following year. Yeah, so it helps a lot to also get people's perspective and also people's involvement in this kind of conversations, because it's the people who also suffer or pay the consequences of corruption, because corruption compromises the resources which are supposed to be used for economic and social development for this kind of people. So if you bring just leaders in the State House summits to just discuss these issues, then it becomes difficult, because it's the people who are supposed to be giving ideas on what is supposed to be done. So today we also expect people from the government, like the DPP, which is responsible for prosecution. We're also expecting actors for the Ethics Commission, among others, where now we are going to be engaging directly with them. You remember the first one last year in State House, it was almost government to government. But now this is now people to government. So our work is just to create that space where people can engage with duty bearers on the kind of issues affecting them.
And probably the final question, Mr. Malombe, is that corruption has been seen whereby it's only the huge corruption, if I could say, and people don't focus on sort of the petty corruption. In your view, what especially needs to be done now that corruption has become a menace in this country?
Yeah, actually we also focus on what we call grand official corruption, because that's where we experience massive plunder, waste of public resources. And these are the resources we are saying are supposed to be used for public accountability and also development. So I think the problem with grand official corruption is lack of political goodwill and interest to confront that problem. Because we have seen in so many situations whereby people are universally mentioned in the report, but there is no goodwill to hold them to account or goodwill to also push them out of the position they hold.
So you think by this summit, there will be these people who will be put to book, as you say?
So actually, through this summit, we'll be able also to get a public commitment from the people to be pushing for accountability in the countries where they come from. Because of late, we have also seen what we are calling devolved corruption, where there's also massive loss of resources, within the county assembly and also within the offices of governors. This will also governance them to be able also to own the county government to account, because that's also where a lot of money is getting lost. And this is also money which is supposed to be devoted for their development. But they're also going to be part of the national conversations and also national engagements in the fight against corruption. Because this one, because it's a political problem, it also requires the participation and the pressure from the people who are directly affected by this kind of criminal activity in the country.
Thank you very much. That was Mr. Davis Malombe, who is the Deputy Executive Director of the Kenya Human Rights Commission, who have organized this People's Summit, People's Anti-Corruption Summit, 3 days before the world marks the World Anti-Corruption Day, which will be held on the 9th of December. Back to you, Betty.